what's going on, everybody? What's happening? What's shaking? What's doing? Welcome to episode 343 of MCRAE Live. My name's Dave MCRAE. Oh, one moment here. One second. Let me lift myself. Where am I looking here? There we are. 1 second. That play. There we go. That's a little better. Ooh, I'm a little hot now. A little hot. Let me take myself down. Okay. All right, there we go. That's a little better. Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's happening? Episode 343 MCRAE Live. My name's Dave MCRAE, coming to you live from the Voice Band Studios in Toronto, Canada. Hope you're having a great day. Yes, do it again. That's a good track. It's a good track. We'll just wait for people to roll on in if they care, if they don't care. It's Thursday, folks. It is Thursday evening, Thursday, July the 17th, 2025, 7:12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you're all doing well. Have you seen Superman? Are you part of the Snyderverse? I'm going to be talking about it today because there's something I want to talk about, and I want to... I've been watching a lot of the discourse online, a lot of the emotional vitriol back and forth, a lot of the... I mean, it looks like I'm... And I say this with all due respect, but it looks like I'm reading messages from children, but they're apparently grown-ass adults who are fighting with each other over who's the better Superman, who's the better, movie, fuck James Gunn, fuck Zack Snyder, and all this kind of stuff. And I know it's not horror related, but I thought, it's a topical thing at the moment. I've been watching it sort of on the peripheral for, a number of weeks now, I guess, just, on X and on Facebook, and I'll read people's tweets and all that kind of stuff. And I also want to check in, of course, with the House on Port Robinson Road Development Fund's campaign. And we're going to look at that as well. We are at 14%, by the way, on the campaign. I would love to get to at least 15% before the end of the show tonight. That's only that's less than $200. It would be amazing if we got to 20% tonight. Now, that's about another 1,000 Canadian dollars, but that doesn't have to come from one person, right? That can come from multiple people. And like I said, a bunch of people coming in low and the thing goes up. It'd be great to hit 20% as the weekend is upon us in the first few days. That's great. That's going to be great for the algorithms on Indiegogo and how they're going to share, our stuff as well. So yeah, we're going to be taking a look at that as well. But I want to talk about the not the Superman movie per se, although I did see the movie and I did make a video on my channel about it. I didn't review it because I'm not a reviewer, but I did like it. I did. I liked it more than I thought I was going to. Still my favorite Superman men movies are, of course, the original two Christopher Reeve films, because I'm, a 46-year-old man who grew up with those movies. I liked Man of Steel for what it was. It was okay. Batman v Superman, I actually kind of enjoyed it. I thought it was kind of fun. But again, I'm not a comic book guy. So for those of you that are new, maybe you're stumbling upon this, maybe this was recommended to you, I don't know. I'm not a comic book guy. And that just means I didn't grow up with comics. I didn't grow up with the animated series. I haven't watched it. I didn't watch Smallville. I didn't watch Lois and Clark. I have never seen an episode, literally. I have never seen an episode of Batman, the animated series, and I haven't, I just didn't grow up with that stuff. I don't have anything against it, but of course, when it comes to like the staple, Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, like those are like the three like heavyweights, you know what I mean? Of course I've seen their movies because everybody knows them and everybody goes to see their movies. But I've only seen about 3 or 4 of the MCU movies. Like I said, I did see Man of Steel. I did see Batman v Superman. I have not seen any of the other DCEU films, including Zack Snyder's Justice League or the theatrical release Justice League or Aquaman and The Flash. I haven't seen them. I haven't seen them because I don't care. It's not that I don't care because I think, oh, it's beneath me. No, I just didn't like how some people are Star Wars fans and some people are not. Some people are Halloween fans and some people are not. Some people are Freddy Krueger fans and some people are not. Some people are big superhero fans and some people are not. It's just different strokes for different folks. It's not personal. It's just, that nature versus nurture, that very important time in my life growing up, I didn't actually, it didn't really hit me, in the same ways, that it hit some of you. And so we'll see if anybody rolls on in today. I don't know if anybody will, because, we're talking about the Snyderverse and Superman, and maybe my audience won't care about it, and fuck them. I'm just kidding. Scallywag. No, but so let's see. So I've been watching from afar the discourse, and I wanted to jump on and I wanted to do a stream where I talk directly to the Snyderverse, directly to the Snyder fans. Now, this video, this isn't going to go viral. I don't have a big enough channel. There's not enough people that give a frog's fat ass about what I have to say. But, sometimes the loudest voices have no idea what the hell they're talking about. And sometimes the smaller voices do. And so I don't profess to be the world's, biggest expert in terms of show business, but I do work in the entertainment industry, and I have worked in the entertainment industry for nearly 25 years. And so I know a little thing or two about how the business side of entertainment works. And I have made, of course, 2 movies and, and have dealt with unions and actors and guilds and that kind of stuff. And I'm in the process of trying to make my first feature-length horror film. So I'm not, a complete noob. I'm not a complete noob, although I guess it depends on who you ask. But I thought, but the important thing here is that I don't have an emotional attachment to what's going on. So when you look at the vitriol online, from Twitter, from well, I guess it's X now, from X and from, especially X. I mean, it's like just this, and the thing I hate about social media is the second you engage, and when I mean engage, I don't even mean like, I just mean like maybe you stop on something and you click on it to expand it. All of a sudden the platform goes, oh, you must really like this. Here's 9 trillion others, It's like, no, I just wanted to see what that one guy said. And all of a sudden my feed is full of people going, fuck Zack Snyder, and it's like, oh my God, I just clicked on that one little thing to see that one little expansion of that one little sentence because I just was curious at how it ended. And now X thinks I'm a massive fan. And it's like, God, it's crazy. But I got hooked and I was reading all this discourse and I'm just like, holy snap and crap. I'm like, it's wild. And because I have no emotional attachment to it, I feel that maybe I can bring a little bit of calm to an otherwise vitriolic, but probably not because nobody gives a frog's fat ass about what I have to say. So planning for this video, I wrote all my thoughts down, did a little bit of research because I had to brush up on my box office knowledge of what movies made what and what, all that kind of stuff. Because obviously people are now, using box office and they're using inflation and it's just like, oh God, this is not a black and white thing. People are incorrectly using this stuff for the most part. And I had to sort of, take a few days and write all my thoughts down. And I'm going to read you those thoughts here today because I think, at least I would like to think that maybe I can at the very least, give some of the Snyderverse something. Now, this is not an attack on the Snyderverse, by the way. This is not an attack on the DCEU or Snyder fans or Zack Snyder. Not at all. It's just, we see, and we have seen over the last several weeks and months, a certain pocket of the Snyderverse, it's not everybody, acting like 7-year-old children. And maybe some of them are. But I don't know. And so they're probably grown-ass men like me on their keyboards going, and it's just like, and then their wives are like, are you coming to bed? Yes, I'll be right there, babe. And it's like, and then, the daughter comes in, Dad, what are you doing? Oh, hi, sweetie. I'm acting like a child. You see, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. But nonetheless, I want to read what I had written, because because maybe some of my viewers are Snyder fans, and maybe some of my viewers are some of those people. I don't know. But hopefully I can give you some context into sort of the larger, bigger picture. So I've titled this show today, Dear Snyderverse Fans, from a non-diehard comic book movie guy, or whatever the hell I titled it. And maybe that less emotionally charged place. I'm not a James Gunn fan. I've only ever seen one James Gunn movie, and that was Superman. So this is not like I'm not part of the Gunverse. I'm not like a spy, like a mole, trying to get in and, no, I'm looking at both sides. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I can somehow be the voice of reason here. But again, I only have 30,000 subscribers, which is not, I shouldn't say only. I mean, that's still, a lot, but certainly not enough to really, all of a sudden, a lot of people are going to be, caring what I have to say. But hey, I'm going to get it off my chest. And maybe if you like what I have to say, you can share it around. I don't know. Share it to the Snyder fan. Share it to the Snyder fan in your life. The Snyder fan in your life. Nonetheless, let's jump right into it. Why is my... We're still live, right? Yeah. Okay, good. Oh my God, we're not live. All right, let me bring up my little, and I'm going to read it, and I might stop and offer some extra, because you guys know me. I mean, I get into it. So bear with me, but I'm going to, okay, here we go here. Let me just, all right. All right, folks. Dear Snyderverse fans, the release of James Gunn's Superman has stirred up more than just anticipation for a new era of DC films. It's reopened an emotional wound for a passionate group of fans still deeply connected to Zack Snyder's now defunct cinematic universe. In online spaces, mostly X is what I'm saying, what should be film discussion has turned into tribal warfare. Accusations fly. Box office figures are twisted to fit narratives, and one side celebrates while the other lashes out. But underneath the surface of this chaos isn't just fandom. It's something much more, much, much deeper. To start, actually, I can just scroll up. There we go. To start, it's important that I'm clear here. Zack Snyder's DC films were not shelved because it was personal. They weren't taken away out of spite. It was business. This is show business. The DCEU, as it existed, wasn't making money. For all the passion surrounding films like Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Zack Snyder's Justice League, the numbers didn't support their continuation. Batman v Superman, featuring two of the most recognizable superheroes of all time, underperformed at a global take of $873 million. Now, I mean, if I made a little movie that made nearly that much, I mean, it's relative, of course, but that's a movie that should have made like $1.5 billion. On the surface, that's a big number. But with a reported production budget of nearly $300 million, plus marketing and distribution costs, which often equal or exceed the production budget, and theater cuts, studios generally take about 50% of the global box office domestically. The profit margin shrinks fast. The films need to crack $1 billion. Some do. Most of these big superhero films do. Not all of them. Just to be seen as a healthy hit. And it didn't do that. And remember, when a movie makes a lot of money, the studio doesn't keep all of that box office revenue. This is a huge misconception. On average, this is on average, studios keep about 50% of the domestic gross and about 25 to 40% of the international, sometimes as low as 25% in China. So if a movie makes $600 million worldwide, the studio might only see around $250 to $300 million back total. And that doesn't factor in production costs, overhead, marketing, and back-end deals. Hollywood is brutal. Passion, vision, and fan support matter. Yes, folks. Yes, Snyderverse. Yes, it does. But only when paired with financial success. Theatrical films must be profitable, not just popular with a niche. The DCEU became increasingly fragmented, tonally inconsistent, and commercially unreliable. Films like Birds of Prey, The Suicide Squad, 2021, and Shazam, Fury of the Gods, all underperformed and lost money. It wasn't a question of talent or commitment or dedication or passion. The machine simply wasn't working. Now, with James Gunn's Superman, he isn't trying, let me try that again. Now, with Superman, James Gunn is trying to reboot the entire model, reset the tone, simplify the continuity, and create a structure that isn't dependent on patching together previous efforts. But to many fans of the Snyderverse, this isn't just a reset. It feels personal. It feels personal to you guys, right? It does. And there's reasons for that. Your investment in the characters, the tone, actors, and narrative was deep and long-lasting. Losing it feels like being abandoned. And that's where the psychology comes in. What we're seeing online, the extreme takes, right? Oh, yeah, well, fuck you. Oh, yeah, look at this. Oh, yeah, look at this. Look at this big red shoe. Oh, yeah, look at that. Fuck yeah. Like all that shit, right? It's literally, that's what, we're seeing. What we're seeing online, the extreme takes, right? The denial of facts, the attacks on a film that they haven't even seen yet is not really about Superman. And it's not really about James Gunn's Superman. It isn't. Now, you may think it is consciously. It's not really. This is about feeling displacement. When people lose something they care about, something that helps shape their identity, they don't always respond rationally. They respond emotionally, right? You've heard me talk about this on this channel before. That can sometimes be the difference between an opinion, which everybody has, and an informed opinion. Informed opinions come from a place of facts, not emotions, right? Where opinions, everybody's got an opinion. Oh, yeah, well, that's easy. I've talked about that. They respond emotionally. The Snyderverse became more than just a series of films for many, especially if you were young. I mean, listen, for a lot of people who are now like 25 or 30 years old, when Man of Steel came out, you were what, like 15, 13? That was your Superman. I'm 46 years old. My Superman was Christopher Reeve. So those movies had made an impression on you. And for a lot of fans, too, they were more serious, mature, dark. Not dark as in real dark. But they were more mature. They were more adult. They felt more in line with the age that you were if you were like 25 when it came out. You know what I mean? It wasn't that, cheesy Christopher Reeve movie, up and away, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman. No, it was more, this is serious. This is more serious. This is like the Nolan trilogy. Yeah. I get it. I totally get it. It makes sense, right? It makes sense. It was, so all of this became a space where your tastes, values, and frustrations with traditional storytelling were validated. Losing that feels personal, even if it wasn't. That grief, and it's a kind of grief, is now channeled into tribal behavior. Social media rewards certainty and outrage, right? We know that. The algorithms do. Not nuance or discussion. Social media does not reward nuance. It wants to get rid of it. So instead of acknowledging the business realities or accepting that creative directions change, many dig in deeper. Box office stats are bent, inflation arguments are cherry-picked, and Gunn's Superman is dismissed before it even has a chance. It's less about the truth and more about protecting something that once felt meaningful. Yes, inflation is a real economic factor. Oh my God, I've never seen so many, armchair, movie fans suddenly care about inflation. It's, incredible. Yes, inflation is a real economic factor. $100 billion in 2016 isn't worth the same in 2025. That's true. Adjusting for inflation can help compare box office figures across time, but only when it's done consistently and with full context, which most people don't do. Most fans using this argument are not doing that. Here's where the logic starts to break down. Number one, to what end? What end are we going to do this? Do we adjust every movie from every era? Do we compare Batman v Superman to Superman 78 in modern dollars too? Or Superman Returns? It's a slippery slope that becomes endless and inconsistent. Number 2. Did I say number 2 before? I meant number 1 before. This is number 2. Why do I think anyway. Number 2, it ignores modern context. It ignores modern context. Today's box office lives in a totally different ecosystem. Post-COVID habits, streaming platforms, fewer theatrical runs, and a more fragmented audience. Films are not playing on the same playing field anymore. And here's a big one that many, not just the Snyderverse fans, but many people who try to use inflation as an argument of, see, my dad's better than your dad. My dad's bigger than your dad. You know, my movie made more than your movie. This is a big one that they don't factor in. If you're going to inflate the box office to boost perceived success, you have to adjust the production budget as well. You can't say Batman versus Superman made more adjusted for inflation without also saying Batman v Superman also cost more adjusted for inflation. Otherwise, you're misrepresenting the return on investment, which is what studios actually care about. Profit matters more than raw box office numbers. Generally. Number 4. It's not how the industry measures success. So studios look at net revenue, margins, and actual profit in today's dollars, not theatrical 2016 dollars, not nostalgia math. They're concerned about what a film is making right now in today's market relative to where we are. That's what they care about. And number 5, I think this is number 5, it's often used selectively. It's used selectively. You don't see these same fans adjusting other movies they didn't like or applying it to budgets or marketing costs, right? It's not objective analysis. It's tribal logic dressed up as fact. Now, from a sociological perspective, this is a classic group identity behavior. People form tribes, not just for entertainment, but to feel seen, to find belonging. And when that group is threatened, it fights to preserve itself, sometimes aggressively. It's not new, by the way, and it's not unique to movie fandom. It's happening all over the world right now, from politics to pop culture. Absolutely. We see it. The difference here is how personal it's become. And it's become very personal to the Snyderverse because storytelling is inherently emotional. But, like I often say on this channel, 2 things can be true at the same time. The Snyderverse mattered to a lot of you Snyder fans. It did. It absolutely mattered. And a lot of the times, what this is really about is the need and the yearning, even if they don't realize it consciously, the need and the yearning to be seen, to be heard, to be acknowledged, and for the thing that they love to say, yes, it mattered. It mattered. But it also wasn't sustainable in the eyes of the studio. It wasn't sustainable. 2 things can be true at the same time. It had a big fan base, but it wasn't sustainable. These are not contradictions. They're parallel truths that reflect the tension between art and show business. James Gunn's Superman isn't an attack on what came before. It's an attempt to rebuild a fractured brand that's lost the public's trust. That doesn't mean the Snyder version wasn't valuable at one time. It means the industry made a choice. The industry made a choice based on data, not emotion. It's business. Fans don't have to like it, but understanding it might help them begin to let go of the bitterness. You can still honor the Snyderverse, acknowledge the creative boldness it had, and move forward and be excited about what comes next. And that's what I have to say on that. So, if you're watching after the fact, feel free to jump into the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. But I think it's important that, again, there's no nuance for these arguments anymore. But hopefully what I've been able to sort of relay there resonates with somebody out there and realizes that, the movies were, look, if the movies were making money, if they were making money, and I don't mean a little bit of money, I mean Marvel Cinematic Universe money, pre-Endgame. If the movies were making money, the DCEU would still be here. Even if it was a little messy, even if there was a little bit of patchwork going on, look at the Halloween franchise, even if it was a little messy, if it would still be here. If Batman v Superman made $1.5 billion, if Man of Steel made $900 million instead of $670, if the theatrical release of Justice League made $1.3 billion, if Birds of Prey was if these were making MCU money, it would still be here. But they weren't. And that's why they're gone. It's not that we don't like the Snyder fans. We don't like them, so we're going to get rid of them. I can hear them saying, yeah, but Henry Cavill was fired. Was he fired? Well, I don't know if he was personally fired, like, hey, Henry, you're fired. You're fired. But was he, for all intents and purposes, was he fired? Yes! But not because he was a bad Superman. Not because he's an awful human being. Not because they hate him. Because the movies weren't making money. Was Gal Gadot fired? Well, for all intents and purposes, yes! Because the whole thing wasn't making money. The Flash with Michael Keaton, it wasn't making money. So yes, for all intents and purposes, but nobody's going to sit there and go, oh, I can't, that Henry Cavill's a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit and a terrible Superman, so we're just firing him and we're rebooting the whole thing. Because I've seen people say online, oh, look, Superman 2025 made about $5 million less domestically open weekend than Man of Steel. So what was the point of the reboot? That's such a small world. What was the point? Because the universe wasn't making money. Man of Steel did okay, but Batman v Superman was a gigantic disappointment. And that was your second movie. And they stuck around, they tried. Aquaman got to $1 billion. Okay, maybe. But that was it. And when you're spending $250, $300 million plus on production budgets, another $200 million on marketing, they're not making money. There's not a return on investment. And when the studios have to pay 50% to, the theaters and, the overhead and the back end deals and they're not making money. When a movie makes $500 million in the box office, the studio doesn't get $500 million. That's gross. That's not net. Right? It's like if you make $100,000 a year, you're not making $100,000 a year. Maybe you're making 60 or 75 if you're lucky, depending on your state and your country and all that kind of stuff. Right? And it's the same here. And then of course you have a family, you got kids, you got to feed your kids. You got to feed your kids, you got your wife, you got to go on vacation, you got to get a new roof, you got to get a new car. Right? You know what I mean? There's things you pay for. Got to pay your kids' allowance. Hey, your kid's got that back end deal. Got to pay his kids' allowance, And so I see a lot of people not really, and it's not that I expect the average Joe to know this, and I'm not saying I'm the world's expert. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I'm passionate about show business, obviously because it's the business I work in, And I like learning about it and, trying to learn when things change and learning from more knowledgeable people than me in certain areas. And I find it fascinating. And I just find the whole thing exhausting and pointless. It's pointless. This whole inflation thing is ridiculous. Yes, inflation matters, but you can't cherry pick when it matters and when it doesn't. It's like the Rotten Tomatoes thing, right? Look, the Rotten Tomatoes scores either matter or they don't. You can't, cherry pick when it matters to, no, it doesn't matter now. I mean, 1 minute, the Rotten Tomatoes, all the critics have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. But if it's for a movie you like, all of a sudden they're geniuses. No, that's not how it works. It either matters or it doesn't. And with inflation, yes, inflation is an interesting metric to look at and compare. But if you're going to inflate the box office, like I said, you have to inflate the budget. So if the budget for Man of Steel in 2013 was $200 million, well, what's $200 million today? What, 450? I mean, you got to do that too. So that's important. But people forget about that. Oh yeah, I guess we do have to do that, don't we? Yeah, you do. That's why it's an interesting metric and it's an interesting discussion and gives you sort of kind of a general idea of maybe what was going on. But that's largely what that is. But that's why the studios don't care about that. They care about today's dollars, how things are today, how it's affecting today, how much are we making today, what do things cost today? That's how it matters. Or that's why it matters. That's what they're focused on. And so, again, hopefully I didn't come across as condescending or pretentious. I'm just very passionate. And I think there's some value into the points that I'm making. And hopefully if you're a Snyderverse guy or gal, maybe it'll give you something to think about. This isn't personal. James Gunn doesn't hate. James Gunn and Zack Snyder are buds. It's there's nothing, this was a universe that wasn't making money. Bottom line. And if you don't believe that, you don't understand show business. You look at a big number and you think, well, and it's like, well, yeah, but like I said, if somebody, said, yeah, I make 100 G's a year. Well, that sounds pretty good. Well, it is until you factor in taxes, summer vacations, 4 children. My roof had to get fixed. I got to buy a new car. My kids' allowances, but, and then you're like, oh, yeah, that's 100 G's gross. That's not 100 net. It's the same with box office, right? Like the Halloween David Gordon Green trilogy grossed $500 million. Universal didn't make $500 million. So, I just think it's important that we understand that. And then if you're going to go online, and you don't have to be, a PhD in this, but if you're going to go online and you're going to start shooting from the hip, and saying all this shit, try to be informed. Try to understand how the business works. Because then you might go, oh, yeah, that's kind of a dumb thing to go online and say, well, yeah, but if you adjust, Man of Steel's box office for inflation, well, heck, it made more. Yeah, but you also have to adjust the budget. I do? Yeah. Well, I don't want to do that. Well, but you have to. I mean, if you're all about truth and justice in the American way, you're going to have to do that too. And their marketing as well. So what did they spend on? So how much did Man of Steel cost? $200 million? How much did they spend on marketing? $200 million? What's $400 million in today's dollars? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you got to look at that too, right? And then you realize, oh yeah, it's kind of a pointless thing to do, right? Like it's interesting and it gives you that interesting metric, but at the end of the day, to what end, right? Like, what are we doing? Like, because as some people say, well, if you want to get really technical, Gone with the Wind is still the highest grossing movie of all time. Yeah, if you adjust it for inflation, right? You know what I mean? And nobody's, on that train. Gone with the Wind, the highest grossing movie of all. Nobody's doing that, right? Because they understand, well, yeah, yes, true, factually true, but, to what end? Like, where does it end, right? But it's not being used in that way. It's being used in a way to create the illusion that, Man of Steel is better and all that kind of stuff. And like I've often said, and I've said this many times on my own channel, the fact of the matter is that when a movie makes a lot of money, it doesn't mean that the movie is good. And that pertains to Superman as well, that just, came out. It just means a lot of people went to see it, right? Now, can it mean that the movie's good? Oh, of course it can, but you can't just look at box office. Box office alone doesn't automatically equal quality. I mean, look at the Transformers movies. All it means is a lot of people went to see it. The question becomes how many of those people that went to see it liked it. That's a different thing. That's where the cinema score is actually quite interesting, because they get, the quick one sentence, kind of thoughts from people leaving the theater, right? And that's more of a metric, really. And honest, it's again, it's not perfect, but it's more in line. Oh, and that's why sometimes you'll see films that, don't make a lot of money with great cinema scores, or movies that make, $1.4 billion with like a C+, or something like that. Because, that's what it's about, right? And so I don't know. I just see the vitriol, and again, maybe it's because I'm not emotionally attached, but I just sit back and I read some of these posts. I'm thinking, guys, this isn't personal. Like, you're acting like, somebody stole your cat. But as I said in my little write-up that I read, there's a sociological and psychological reason for it. It really isn't about Superman. It's not really about James Gunn's Superman. It is, but it's not. It's about the loss of something. It's about not feeling seen, not being heard, feeling gypped, and being emotionally attached to arguably the Superman maybe a lot of these people grew up with, right? They grew up with Henry Cavill. And I like Henry Cavill as Superman. I do. I often think maybe he was the right guy in the wrong films. I did not like him and Amy Adams. I mean, I thought there was no chemistry there at all. But they are what they are. It's a more mature take, coming off of the Nolan more mature films. I get why people like it. It fits more in line with, I'm 17 years old. I don't want a kiddie movie. I don't want silly special effects like, the old Super. I want the Dark Knight of Superman, bitch. I get it. You're 17. You're fucking excited. That's where you are in your head, right? You know what I mean? Yeah, I get it. You're not going to be caught dead going to watch, fucking Pixar movie. You want like serious, mature stuff. And that's what Zack Snyder gave you. He gave you serious and, I get it. It has its place. But as I came to learn as a non-comic book guy, there's many different iterations of the character. I didn't even know there was a dog named Crypto until I watched the trailer. I was like, there's a dog? I had no idea. I thought people were saying Hot Girl instead of Hawk Girl. I don't know who Hawk Girl is. I mean, she is very attractive, but I had no idea who the character was. No idea. I had never heard of Mr. Terrific. Like, I am very just movies. Like, I don't even know who these people are. I found out the other day that there's an Elastic Man and like a elongated man or something. I'm like, that's hilarious. And maybe because I'm not emotionally invested, I'm able to come at it from a bit of a different perspective and hopefully give a little bit of insight into kind of like, we're all kind of being crazy. Look, I don't understand this culture. I do understand being upset. I do understand being disappointed. I get that. And maybe it's my age, I don't know. But I don't understand this culture for wanting movies to fail. I don't get it. I never want a movie to fail. Trancas International could say we're doing a direct sequel to Halloween 5 and Erasing 6. And Halloween 5 is, a movie I don't particularly like. They could say they're doing a direct sequel to Halloween Resurrection. I hate Halloween Resurrection. And I am not going to sit here and go, I hope it fucking fails. No, I hope it's amazing. I do. I don't think it's going to be. I might have my very strong skeptical, apprehensions. It's not a movie I necessarily want, but I'm not going to be online hoping it fails. And for the next 2 years, talking about what a garbage piece of crap this movie's going to be. I want it to be good. I want to be blown away. It's like the Crystal Lake TV series. I want this to be good, man. We all should be like, we can have our reservations. We can be like, I don't know. That's fair. But going into it I know this is good. I want this. There's so many people that wanted James Gunn's Superman to fail. As a Snyderverse fan, you could be like, well, listen, I'm pissed off. Henry Cavill's my boy. I'm upset. But you know what? Okay. All right. Hey, there's many different iterations of Superman. We got the dark sort of, more mature Superman. Okay, all right. Now we're getting more kind of leaning back more towards that. It's a bird, it's a plane Superman. Okay, all right. Okay, brighter colors. All right. Well, let's see how it goes. Now, some people would be like, well, I was like that. And I saw the movie and it was absolute trash. The movie's not trash. We live in a world where there's so many extremes, right? Like I've often said, things are either a 10 out of 10 or it's shit. You may not like James Gunn's Superman. That's fine. Maybe it didn't work for you, right? Maybe it didn't work for you. But it's not trash, right? We use these buzzwords to go to the extreme, right? Because we're feeling emotional. It's a catastrophic dumpster fire. It's garbage. It's trash. It's the worst piece of shit I've ever seen. If Superman 2025 is the worst piece of shit you've ever seen, then you've never seen a piece of shit movie. Right? Maybe it didn't work for you. You know what? I just much prefer the more serious tone. You know what? It was okay. I get why people like it, but it's just not for me. That's fair. There's nothing wrong with that. No one's got a gun to your head going, "You gotta like it, bitch." No one's doing that. If it genuinely didn't work for you, and your thoughts and emotions are not affected by the years of online discourse and your emotional state being a Snyder fan, if you can truly say that you gave it a real shot, which is hard to do, okay. But so many people walk in wanting to hate it. And I never want a movie to fail. I never do. Do I want them to make a sequel to Halloween Resurrection? No. I think I think that movie's a piece of crap. No, I don't. But if they did, I wouldn't be on here, I hope it fails. No, I'd be like, all right, well, I hope you prove me wrong and get out there and do the best you can do. And I'm going to go to the theater and be like, fuck, man, Halloween 9, yeah. Wouldn't that be amazing? Holy shit. I don't know how, but they did. That's what I want. And so, I don't understand. I don't. I was hoping this Superman that I would like it. I didn't know. I was hoping I would. I went in and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I had a fun time. As a non-comic book guy, I actually really enjoyed it. And I think the big reason why is I really feel for David Cornsweet as Superman. I think he's great. And I think he also might make a great Indiana Jones. Just saying. Disney, invoice will be in the mail. I'm not saying I think they should make another Indiana Jones. I'm just saying if they did, because it's inevitable they will, he might be a good fit. I like Rachel Brosnahan. I mean, she's easy on the eyes. But I like their relationship. I felt much more chemistry between them than I ever did Henry Cavill and Amy Adams. And so, I just found, but again, I grew up with the Reeve films. And although it's not totally like the Reeve movies, it's brighter, more positive, more lighter. It's more in line with those movies than the darker Snyder take. But there's room for everybody at the table, folks. I don't particularly like the Terrifier films. That doesn't mean I don't like Damien Leone or Michael Levy or the people who... It's just not my jam. It's like the house on Port Robinson Road is not going to be maybe your jam. It doesn't mean you hate me. You know what I mean? It's different strokes for different folks. I still want the Terrifier. When Terrifier made a $90 million at the box, I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, right on, rock on, dudes. Yes. Because that's great for horror. It's great for indie filmmakers. It's great, right? We can all cheer each other. I mean, there's not that there isn't competition. Of course there's competition. There can be, it's show business. There's a lot of egos and a lot of, I don't want to create this idea that I have this, utopian, perfect, idealistic world of the entertainment business. No, I mean, like I said, I've worked in it for 25 years. I've met my fair share of kind of people and situations. And yeah, it's just part of business. But at the end of the day, I've never found myself wanting a project to fail, especially if it's something that I like. And I like Superman. So anytime they make a Superman movie, I hope it's good. You know, anything they make of Halloween, even if they said we're making a Dr. Loomis backstory. Well, you know me. I'm like, oh, God, I hope they don't do that. But, all right. Well, I hope it's really fucking good. You know what I mean? We can cheer it up. Be like, all right, guy, you got a lot to do. You got a lot of proving, but okay, let's do it. That's fun. We can be skeptical and have fun and, you know, rib each other and just like, all right, let's do it. And then if it ends up not being that good, well, it's not being that good. No harm, no foul. But there is a really, like I said in my write-up, storytelling is inherently emotional, and people get very emotionally attached. It's very serious for a lot of people. It's very, 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 very serious. And there might be some Snyder fans who are watching me now or after the fact saying, well, easy for you, Dave. You're not a comic book fan. No, but I'm emotionally attached to other things. You know, Star Wars, not so much anymore, but, you know, horror, Halloween, Freddy, Michael, Jason. I mean, I have my emotional attachments too. But I think it's important that, you know, like, I just think it's important that we always come at it from a less emotionally charged place. And every Snyder fan out there in the world has to remember it's not personal. It's like how some people don't like me, right? There are some people, when I sprung onto the scene in 2017, because I was outgoing and loud and I had a presence and I was being theatrical because I'm an actor and, you know, and, oh, that's dog shit. Now people kind of get me, but there were a lot of people that were like, who's this arrogant, self-centered, egotistical, pretentious dick? You know what I mean? Because we live in a world where if I say Halloween 5's dog shit, that can be interpreted as, I think everybody who likes Halloween 5 is dog shit, right? And that's not true. That's why I think, you know, it'd be hard to get people to do this, but I think it would be an interesting sociological experiment that when you say something is dog shit, you first say, well, I think it's dog shit. I don't think it's very good. But we don't do that, do we? We often go, it's not very good. It's dog shit. Like we're the arbiter of fact, right? Well, that's just our opinion, right? Sometimes, especially if you're dealing with somebody who's sensitive, if you just add the words, well, you know what? I particularly didn't think it was very good. It still might sting to somebody who's really emotionally attached to the material, right? But I think it might soften the blow a little bit psychologically. Oh, okay, well, they didn't like it. They're not telling me that I'm wrong. They're not saying that they are the Pope of all things horror. They're just saying it didn't work for them, you know? And, but that's not what you see online, of course, and that's not what algorithms and social media reward, right? They don't reward nuance. Like some of you have probably seen the posts I've made. They are the least social media friendly posts of all time, unless they go, you know, viral and are shared. But my posts are like, you know, this long and nuanced. And, you know, sometimes it takes me like half a day to write it because I'm editing and I want to be, you know, so perfect with it. That's not what it is. But if I go online and go, Superman is shit. Oh my God, 5,000 retweets, 150,000 likes. It's, you know, it's like, what the hell? What does that even mean? You know? And so, yeah, it's an interesting situation. It's an interesting situation. And, but I just hope that maybe, I don't know, like I said, I don't have a gigantic channel, but maybe some of the things I've talked about here today can maybe some of the Snyder fans would be like, I get what you're, it is kind of silly. I mean, it's not personal. It's not like, you know, they stopped making it's not like the DCEU was, you know, raking in the dough like MCU style. And then all of a sudden Warner Brothers switched ownership and they were like, you know, those Snyderverse fans are really fucking annoying. Fuck, I hate those little bastards. You know what? You know what we're going to do? We're going to just stop the DCEU. But sir, we're making like lots of money. I don't care. Have you seen those bastards? Have you seen those pieces of shit online? I don't care. What's that? We're raking in billions every movie? Who cares? Let's just do it out of spite. I mean, that's what you would think actually happened. Right? You know what I mean? Based on what some of these people said, bring back the... It's never coming back, folks. It's not coming back. And it's not personal. They tried. They let it go for a while. I mean, they gave it a good 12-year run. Or 11-year run, or whatever it was. It didn't work. It didn't work. They had to move on. They were losing too much money. So it's not personal. So, and please, if you're going to use inflation as a metric for success, which you shouldn't do anyway, don't forget to factor in the budget and marketing. You can't just say, Man of Steel made more because adjusted for inflation, it's $900 million. Yes, but its budget also needs to be adjusted for inflation as well. So it probably evens out to about the same. Anyways, folks, hey, if you're watching after the fact, jump into the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on anything I had to say here today. I'd really like to know. And again, I don't have a dog in the fight. I like the man. Like, I don't love the Snyderverse. I've only seen Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. But I like them for what they are. I don't have a dog in the fight. I have no skin in the game. This isn't an attack on Snyderverse fans. This is just a show, me expressing my thoughts on what I've seen online in the discourse and how I think that there's, a lot of things we need to always remember and take into consideration when we want to talk about the business of show and to remember that it's not personal. For goodness sakes, your yelling and screaming got you Zack Snyder's Justice League. They were also launching HBO Max, so it was kind of, wasn't as virtuous as we might think. Hey, it's okay. It's all right. Let's celebrate this new Superman. It's Superman. You're DC fans, right? Come on. Now, if you really didn't like the movie, that's fair. But somehow, I think at least 50% of the people that said they didn't like the movie have just convinced themselves they weren't going to like the movie, so they didn't like the movie. It never got a fair shake, which is usually the case nowadays. All right, let me just go over to the chat room and to the super chats here. A couple super chats came in. Let me get these. And then we'll check out the campaign, see how the campaign is doing. Mandel Goodman, been a member for 23 months, says, have you heard of any of these films? A Siberian film, 2010. A Serbian film, 2010. I have not. Requiem for a Dream. Of course, I've seen it. Threads. I've heard of it. Martyrs. Of course. Great film. Antichrist, 2009. Maybe. August Underground. Oh, and Cannibal Holocaust. Of course. And Behind the Sun, Visitor Q. 88 Visitor Q, 2001. I've heard of pretty much all of them, seen a few of them. Yeah. Josh McKenna sends a $9.99, says, I love your balanced take. You are great at being nuanced. Well, I've had to be. I see some channels losing it over the new Superman, saying it pushes an agenda. They don't actually review the movie. I didn't feel any agenda in the movie at all, other than trying to make a good movie. That'll work for some and not for others. Mike Max sends in a member chat. Thank you, Mike, for being a member. Says, great letter, Dave. Admittedly, I loved the epic vision of Snyder, and that's amazing. I think that's awesome. It was fucking epic. I mean, hey, if there's anything we can all agree with the Snyderverse, it was pretty epic. I mean, it was, very mythic and godlike. The Snyder had for the characters, but even I understand that take isn't for everyone. The vile discourse online between both sides is disappointing. It is. Oh, it is. And I'm glad you mentioned both sides there, because it's important that although I was very much leaning into speaking to the Snyderverse because they seem to be the loudest at the moment, you are correct in saying that there is stuff coming from the other side as well. And so this isn't a stream or a show where I'm taking sides. I'm just trying to sort of, kind of be a mediator, so to speak, and just kind of say, hey, I think we can all kind of just, we're all fans here, man. I mean, even me, I like Superman. I wanted to succeed, and it was good. I enjoyed it. And if I thought it was crap, I'd say it was crap, but no, I enjoyed it. And if you genuinely thought it was crap, if it didn't work for you, that's fine. But I also think it's important to acknowledge that not the sole reason, but some of the reasons why the Snyderverse really is affecting people and is really, is because of when it hit them maybe at the development of their lives, right? If you were 13 when you saw it, or if you were 22 when you saw it, Henry Cavill's your Superman. And, and you were of an age that you wanted a darker take. You've just come off the Nolan films, and that was a very dark, real world, grounded Batman take. And now you're getting that thing with Superman. And that kind of thing with Superman does exist. And, you got that take and you loved it and you wanted more. The unfortunate part is it just didn't make money. That's it. It ain't personal. It's show business. And that's the end of it. Really, at the end of the day. Brandon Collins, what's going on, Brandon? sends in $5, says, inflation is silly. It doesn't factor in which mediums competed with cinemas. That's true too. There's no TV in 39 while people were seeing Gone with the Wind. That's true too. Like it's a nice, like it's a ballpark. Oh, that's interesting. Well, that's kind of cool. But it cannot be used as a litmus test for success and my dad's bigger than your dad or my dad's going to beat up your dad. It just, there's too many nuances, too many variables. It's just, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So I agree. Carl Weidman sends in $10. Thank you, Carl. Says, for the November files, ooh, I like it. He's getting the talk moving along. For the November Files Plus, and November Files Platinum, are the links to the photos, audio, and video a one-time thing, or are they downloadable for us to keep? They will be a link that you can not necessarily download, but you'll have access to like indefinitely. And or maybe I'll make it downloadable. Let me think on that. Let me think on that, because I have to get going on it. Now, they will be 3 separate videos, right? And in depth, like they're not like 90 seconds long, right? You know what I mean? But there will be a link, like, they'll probably be uploaded like Vimeo. So let me think on that. But either way, it'll be a link that you'll just have, like you'll just have it. But maybe downloadable too. Let me think on that. But either way, you'll have access it to, indefinitely. And I think it's a cool, like it's really cool, man, because there's, like I said, I've opened up the vault 25 years. And of course I can't show everything, right? But I'm going to accumulate all the photos I have, a lot of the audio I have, the video I have. Like the video is going to be cool, dude. Like it's going to be really fucking cool. And I'm going to create, with my running commentary. I mean, you know me, I'm like, what the fuck, you got to say it all. I'm going to have all the, and I'm going to be able to explain what you're looking at, what's in the photo, what was happening at this moment, all that kind of stuff. It's funny, when I made the social media posts, I've actually had a few of my old college friends who I haven't talked to in years reach out to me. And there was this one girl that reached out to me and said, oh my God, Dave, I still remember I can't say because, oh my God, goosebumps galore, and she said, I'm so proud that you're finally doing this. And it was really nice to hear that from people that are, coming out of the woodwork, right? Which is really, really cool. But So the November Files is a photo video where you get me doing my running commentary, and it's like a slideshow, with all of the, I don't know, be all of the photos, but there'll be a lot of photos, a lot of juicy stuff, right? And I will give sort of, what this day is, what's happening here, all that kind of stuff. It'll be a lot of fun. I might even see actually if some of my friends, I don't know if they'd have their old photos. I was the one taking the most of them, but you never know. Maybe they got them in a shoebox somewhere, just to get, some more. But there's that. And then the November Files Plus, you get the November Files. So you get the link to the video with the photos, but you also get another video with the audio. And I need to say this too, because this is important. Because I was talking about this on Darren, on Mr. Sandsman yesterday as well. I know that I've been holding this project very close to the vest, right? And there's obvious reasons for that. But it's very important that people understand the house on Port Robinson Road, the real story and the movie that it's inspired by is way more involved than just an EVP of don't. I know that's really kind of the only kind of like real cool epic thing that maybe, I've let you hear or see. But that was just, that's just the thing that made me realize that's not just the thing. I mean, it was an epic thing, but that was the thing that made me realize I wanted to do a movie and I wanted to write a film. And so, as Darren said, because he has read the script, and he loved it. He said, I didn't realize how involved it's like a full-on movie, like it's and it's great, and it's got all this and this and this, and it goes here and it goes there, and I mean, it's not like an epic, but I just mean it's a lot more than don't. You know what I mean? It's not Blair Witch Project. It's not just a group of kids in a farmhouse, with a tape recorder. And like I said, it's and I've said this, before. It has the mood and the atmosphere again, not story-wise, but the mood and the atmosphere of like The Others, The Witch, Long Legs, not story, but just like that feeling, that mood and that atmosphere. And then it also marries sort of that emotional undercurrent with films like Contact or Arrival, not the Charlie Sheen one, the Denis Villeneuve one. And I'm not sitting here saying that my movie's going to be so, no, I'm just saying that these are I can't say too much, but these are sort of, hopefully these kind of comparisons will make you go, oh yeah, this sounds like it is probably more than just don't, and there's, of course, it's inspired by true events. So I did have to take creative liberties to tell a story, but there's a lot of truth that happened that is in this movie as well. So, and I'm very proud of it, very excited about it, and we're raising funds for development. So as you guys know, the link is pinned to the top of the chat, folks. We're at 14% right now. I'd love to, I don't know if we're going to get to 20% tonight or not, but I'd love to get to at least 15%, which is about another $160 Canadian, be less for you in the States. 20% is about another $1,000, but if a bunch of people, tonight buy, t-shirts and concept posters, if one person picks up the November Files legacy, well, then we're almost there. But, so anyways, and then the November Files Plus is not all the audio, but a lot of the audio, right? With my running here's what you're going to hear. Here's what's happening here. Here's what's going on. It's great shit, man. I have 18 cassette tapes I have to go through. And then the November Files Platinum is the video as well. So you get everything in the November Files and the November Files Plus, but you also get the video link with my running commentary and all that kind of stuff too. So really, really cool. And then the November Files Legacy, which is the top tier, okay, you get everything in the November Files Plus, and Platinum, as well as a private link to a live stream with me and a few of my college friends who will be doing a live show talking about the real experience at the house on Port Robinson Road. And open to Q&A, of course, as well. And that's the November Files Legacy. That's our top tier. That's going to be awesome, folks. Like, it's going to be worth it. Trust me. And then, of course, and you also get your name on the Legacy Founder wall on my official website, DaveMcCraeOfficial.com. For those who don't know, I do have a website, DaveMcCraeOfficial.com. The wall is not there yet, but you will be etched on my wall there if you pick up the Legacy Files tier. That's the top tier. That's a top tier. So really great stuff. Like it takes a bit of explaining to do. And if you're on your mobile app, you have to click the perk and then go to details to see what is involved. Make sure you do that as well, because I'm telling you, if you're a fan of ghost hunters, if you're a fan of ghost adventures, if you're a fan of anything paranormal and all that kind of stuff, if you love watching those shows, I mean, the November Files Plus, the November Files Platinum, I mean, even the Legacy, I mean, this is right up your alley. And if it's not up your alley, it's got to be up the alley of somebody you know. So spread the word, because this is like, again, and this is old school. Like, we didn't call ourselves ghost hunters. We didn't see ourselves as ghost hunting. I mean, this is the year 2000. Before social media, before smartphones, before ghost hunters, ghost adventures, paranormal state, ghost whisperer, long before they even existed. And so this is a really cool story and a really cool experience that if you're a big fan of this kind of stuff, it's going to be well worth it. It's going to be well worth it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, dude, like, I mean, let's do it. Like, let's fucking do it. Let's do it. We'll do it live. Fuck it. We'll do it live. Thank you, buddy. Really appreciate that, Karl. The horror counselor sends in nearly 10 pounds and says, "Hey, Dave, it's been a long time. I was wondering what you thought of the news of Friday the 13th as we know it, and also the new mask. God bless and good luck with the house on Port Robinson Road." Thank you, buddy. I'm excited. I'm excited for Crystal Lake. I'm excited for it. I hope they knock it out of the park. The mask, I much prefer the old school mask, of course. I don't hate it, though. I don't hate it like some people do. It would probably grow on me if that ends up being it. But I'm excited for it. I want Crystal Lake to succeed. I'm excited for it. Frankly speaking, Riker, what's going on? Frank sends in a very generous super chat of $20. Thanks, buddy. Says, Chris is a legendary Superman for most, but my dad might say George. That's right, George Reeves. Henry for others, and David for now. If Chris is supposed to be a legend, then let him stay that way by not copying him. There will never be another Babe Ruth. It's a great point, Frank. I mean, it's different eras, it's different interpretations, it's different versions. We can have, if there was only one Superman, if there was only one interpretation of Superman, and it was the dark Zack, if that was Superman, and all of a sudden James Gunn made this version of Superman, or if this was Man of Steel, I could totally see Snyder fans being livid and pissed off if James Gunn's Superman was Man of Steel 2. Well, yeah, I'd be sitting there going, what the hell are you talking about? What is this piece of shit? Yeah, this is Man of Steel 2. What is this? But it's not. It's another version of Superman. It's comic book 36, page 4, paragraph 7. I mean, there's so many different versions, right? We can have both. We can love both. I agree, Frank. I totally agree. Jeff Harris, $4.99. Thank you, Jeff. Says, hey, Dave, do you have a favorite moment from the new Superman? Also, have you seen the recent Christopher Reeve doc? Definitely heart-wrenching. Yeah, no, I haven't seen it. I want to see it. I haven't seen it yet. My favorite moment from the new Superman... Ooh, I don't know. That's a good, I don't know. I mean, I've only seen it once. I just love Corn Sweat as Superman. I love his vulnerability. I love his naivete. He just feels like Superman to me. And no disrespect to Cavill, but because I grew up with Reeve, he feels more like a Reeve type of Superman, like, an offshoot. Than Cavill did, right? And I think we can agree with that. And so it's just kind of the hopefulness of it, the funness of the film. There's got to be certain parts. I mean, there definitely is. I like when he was being, well, I don't want to say, not everybody's seen it yet, even though I gave a big spoiler away yesterday at Mr. Sandsman because I had a brain fart and had no idea what the hell I was talking about. So I don't want to say too much, but I'll say that there's probably a few things I could pick out, but I don't want to say too much. Carl Wyman, member chat, thanks, buddy, says, could you provide a way for anyone who wants to donate money to your production company for future projects? For future projects, I would say not at the... I would say if you want to donate, it's right now, it's the house on Port Robinson Road. And here's the thing too, folks. If you don't see any perk that you want, as you know, Carl, because you're an OG. I mean, you've been around for a while. You've been a viewer for a while. If you look at the perks and you're like, there's not really anything here I want, that's okay. I don't take it personal. But you still want to help out, you can donate. So if you're on your phone, go to the end of the perks and there'll be a donate button. And you can donate as little as $10 and as high as $1,000. So donations help too. Now they're not tied to perks, so you don't have to put in your address or anything like that. They're donations and they are greatly appreciated as well. So I would say at the moment, the focus is on the house on Port Robinson Road. So that's where I'd want the funds to go to. And again, it's important to remember that this is a development funds campaign. So the funds raised for through this campaign are not going directly to the production budget to make the movie. They are going directly to the early development things like, concept art, a legal team, line producers, breaking down the script, refining the lookbook and pitch deck, all these things that are going to cost a lot of money to be able to get us in a position where our production package for this movie is so tight, nobody's going to be able to say no. They're going to look at everything and go, this is, oh my God, like who knows? Maybe there'll be a bidding war. I don't know. No, I don't know. I'm just being, but I want this to be so tight that anybody who looks at it goes, I want to get in on this. And that's what these funds are for. And so, because, you have to remember too, like I said on the show, the other day, there's so much focus on production budget in the world of movies that we often forget that there's a lot of money, sometimes millions, or at least several, but certainly hundreds of thousands that are spent on development, right? Like if a studio, like I said, if a studio buys the rights to a book, let's say they spend $150,000 on the rights to a book. Well, that $150,000 the studio just spent, that's development money. And then they hire a screenwriter to develop that book into a screenplay. Well, they've got to pay that screenwriter. So they say to Bob, Bob, we're going to pay you, go away for 3 months, write this, adapt this into a screenplay. We'll pay you $25,000. Well, that $25,000 is part of it's part of the development fund. So a lot of money is spent on developing projects before they're even greenlit. And that's where we are right now with The House on Port Robinson Road. The script is done. I've had people read it who work in the industry who really like it. They see the potential there. They're like, this is really good. This is something. This is good. The lookbook and pitch deck is done. It's just being refined right now. But I need to bring on my legal team. I need to hire a line producer. I need to get concept art made. I need to, start working towards those things. And if we could, so the base on the campaign, the base is 20,000 Canadian. You're going to see it less. You're going to see it for probably about 14.5, 15,000 US. Now, I need more than $15,000. Okay. But I didn't know how well this campaign was going to do because I'm not offering Blu-rays or producer perks. And the reason for that is because, again, for those of you that watch me, I don't know who's going to be in charge of making those. So I can't promise those when I might not even have a say in that. But I set it at 20,000 Canadian, about 15,000 US, because I thought that was an achievable goal. And that will put the campaign into in demand. You know all about that from the Billy 2 campaign. And then we can continue to raise funds and working towards the stretch goals of 30,000 Canadian, 22,000 US, 60,000 Canadian, about 45,000 US. And if I can hit that very top stretch goal, then I might actually be able to make a concept teaser, a concept trailer, totally professionally produced, studio quality. You know me, if you've watched, the work with the Billy films, you know that it's not going to be anything less. Totally pro, that will be like the cherry on top to go with our package where somebody is just like, yeah, no, we need to get in on this. Like, this is like, I don't even know. I mean, you got the script, you got this, you got the concept, you got the team, you got people. And that's a big, big, big deal. And so, but I didn't want to set the campaign at 60. I wanted to set it lower so it was easier to achieve and get in there. Do you know what I mean? Which I think was the right thing to do. So again, folks, I would love it if, where are we right now? Look at the other screen. We are sitting at, right now, we're just 2 days in. We're 2 days in. We're sitting at 2,858 Canadian, 14%. I would love to see that hit 3,000 tonight. That would put us at 15%. I don't know if there's anybody out there that's ready to go big and to get us to 3,000, right? I don't know, or close to it, because that would put us close to 20%, which would be amazing. Because remember, and I'm not pulling this shit out of my ass, folks, I'm being honest. I had a meeting with one of the marketing heads of Indiegogo because they were very impressed with our Billy campaigns and they want to help support this campaign. And they said, the more money that you make very early, that helps us promote it on our sites, on our socials and things like that, which totally makes sense. And, I know it says we have 58 days left. Oh, Dave, you have 58 days left. You'll make it. Yes. But if we can keep that momentum up, that bodes well for algorithms and social media, as well. So I just want to, remind people out there, again, the perks. What do we got? We got the social media thank you. Again, you're seeing this in Canadian dollars. Don't forget that. Canadian dollars, much cheaper for you in the US and the UK. The official concept poster, 11 by 17. Concept poster number 2, right? A t-shirt. That looks pretty good. Another t-shirt. There you go. Concept poster, signed concept poster from me, a signed concept poster from me. Another signed one from me. The mystery envelope. This is a cool one. This is doing well. There's only 50 available and 9 people have picked it up. This limited edition envelope contains a carefully curated collection of promotional items tied to the house on Port Robinson Road. No further details will be revealed. This is your invitation into the unknown. Once they're gone, they're gone. You'll also receive a social media thank you from moi. So very cool indeed. A Port Robinson Road street sign. Hey, that's pretty cool. For your contribution to this perk, you'll receive a signed by me, novelty street sign featuring the name Port Robinson Road, just like the real one. A perfect piece for horror fans, collectors, or anyone who wants a tangible reminder of where it all began. Only 20 available. You'll also receive a social media thank you from moi. So that's pretty cool. And then this is what... who was talking about this again? I forget now. This was Karl Wyman was talking about this. This is so cool. This is the November Files, the real photos. So hang on, let me click on it here. So this is linked to a private video tour of the, hang on a sec here. Hang on. There we go. Yes, a link to a private video tour of real photographs taken during the many visits to the house, narrated by me with context and stories. You'll also get an 11 by 17 signed concept poster from moi. And that's going to be really, really cool. Again, you're seeing those dollars in Canadian, much cheaper for you. And then, of course, the real audio, that's the same thing, but a video link to the real audio, not just the Don't EVP guys. I mean, like lots of audio, which is going to be a lot of fun. The real video footage, this, guys, I mean, if you're into the paranormal, you're into ghost hunting, all that kind of stuff, this is great shit. The November Files Plus is a private link to a video featuring rare clips from the house itself. The footage is framed by my narration, including a walkthrough of the house in the dead of winter at night alongside a fellow group member who recalls seeing a little girl dancing. Spread the word, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. And then, of course, there is the November Files Legacy Edition. Again, that is cheaper for you in the US, and this is everything. It's everything included in the previous tiers, but also the private link to the live stream of myself and my friends talking about the experience, answering your questions. You get your name on my website forever. And I think that's pretty darn cool as well. So, yeah, folks, I mean, anything you can do, again, every little bit helps. And I'm not just saying that. These funds are so important, and you're getting in on the ground up. Like, you are getting in on the ground up, like in the true beginning stages of this film, And, and you're helping me accomplish a dream. An original psychological horror film. Everybody wants original horror movies. They're sick of IPs. Okay. Or they're sick of franchises, I should say. Okay, well, this is an original psychological horror film inspired by true events from my second year of college. It is a supernatural, elevated film. It's not pretentious. It's not condescending at all. It's scary. It's full of mood and atmosphere and suspense, but it is, it's got the philosophical, the existential themes in there too. And it's much bigger than I think people probably realize. It's not Blair Witch. It's not just a bunch of kids with a tape recorder in a farmhouse. It's much bigger than that. It's a real movie here, folks. It's a real bigger film. And I'm very, very excited about it. And obviously I've been wanting to do this for more than half my life. For 25 years, I've been working on this off and on, and I want to be able to get to a point where I can make this movie. And this isn't a fan film. This is a full film, a quote unquote real film. Not that the Billy films are not real films. Of course they were. But I mean, in the sense of that I own the rights to this. And so therefore, this is a movie, depending on where it goes, depending on what happens in its journey, it's a movie that you might be able to see in the movie theater. Maybe you'll see it on Netflix. Maybe you'll see it on Prime. Maybe you'll see it, I don't know. I don't know where it's going to end up. But this is, the real deal in that regard. It'll probably play the festival circuit, maybe. Who knows? Maybe you'll be able to see it. But it's a dream of mine. My first feature-length directorial film And it's a project that I'm incredibly excited about. So, and like I said, every little bit helps. You don't see a perk you don't want, donate. Donate $20, $5, $10, $50, $100. It goes a long way. And the donation, like I said, is at the end of the, because most people are probably on their phones. So it's at the end of the thing. Let me see. A couple other things came in here. Let me just see. I want to get these. I don't want to miss these. Hang on a sec. Carl Wyman, $5. Thanks, Carl. Says, your teaser for the house on Port Robinson Road is really good. Who is the woman in it, the actress? Well, that actually is concept art. And that is all done with After Effects and DaVinci Resolve. So it's not actually video footage. I did all of the sound mixing and the sound design. I did the color correction in DaVinci Resolve, and I did the lightning effects in DaVinci Resolve. And then my buddy Mike did went into After Effects and did the movement on it, and which was really cool. And so he might have used some AI plugins to help with the movement, but it's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah, it's really cool, and perfect for where I'm at right now, because I don't have any video footage. If I had $60,000, I could get you some real awesome video footage. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's just a little tease of it's a tone piece, right? It's a mood tone sort of kind of really brief kind of thing that allows you to get a sense of what is happening. Let's watch it again, actually. We'll watch it right now. And everything, folks, like everything from the very beginning of this to the sounds that you're hearing, right to the very end, this is the tone I'm trying to set. This and more. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. Yeah, it took us a while to put it together because it looks simple, but it's actually quite intricate because I wanted it to look like she was moving, and that takes a little bit. And so, but it's perfect for the purposes of this campaign, and that tone, that vibe that you feel. You see, they say it's the place where the dead speak, and you just hear that boom. Boom. That tone, that anticipation, that build. I mean, this is all, I don't release anything unless anything I release will be, always in the vibe and the tone and the feeling of what I eventually want this to become. And so again, folks, if we can get, I don't know if there's anybody out there that's willing to get us to 15%. It's about another 160 Canadian, maybe 130 US. I'm not sure. If somebody picked up the Port Robinson Road street sign, that would probably get us there, actually. I'd love to get to 15% before the end of the night. I don't know if anybody is willing to do it. It's okay if not. I'm always, I got to be out there, and I don't mean to, if you're new to the channel and if you're not interested, and that's fair. Some people are not interested. Some people don't care about this. They really don't care. They'll gladly pay and go see the movie, of course, but it's just not for them. And I totally understand that. No harm, no foul. But just know that I will be talking about it a lot. I will be promoting it a lot because I have to. Because if I don't do it, who's going to do it? And it's even more important than the Billy films. Now, the Billy films, we raised between both movies, we raised 220,000 Canadian dollars, 165,000 US dollars. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And that was difficult because it's not Michael Myers, it's not Freddy Krueger, it's not Jason. But even the Billy films were easier than the house on Port Robinson Road. Why? Because as niche as Black Christmas is, And as niche as Billy is, and people only watching the movie once every year, at Christmas time, he's still known. And there's still a fan base, and there's still people willing to help out. And yes, of course, having Olivia Hussey on board for Chapter 2 definitely helped. But with Chapter 1, we still raised over $60,000 Canadian, almost $50,000 US during a pandemic in the summer of 2020 with no name attached to the project. So, you guys are incredible. Like, you really, really made it happen. So the House on Port Robinson Road, because it's a psychological, supernatural, drama, it doesn't have a main antagonist. It doesn't have an Art the Clown or a cool mask it's original. It is truly original. And these are much more difficult to get people excited about. They're much more difficult to get people to care about. They're much harder to sell because people are like, the House on Port, I don't know what this is. I don't care. Dave, I don't really care. Whatever. I don't need to donate. Other people will. No, you do. Yes, you do. Every little bit. And I mean it. I sincerely mean it. $5. That's not going to make a difference. No, but if 500 people donated $5, that makes a difference. That makes a difference, right? It's amazing. Every little bit helps. Sometimes it's not about going big. I mean, maybe there'll be some people that buy, the legacy tier, and that's amazing. But really, this is about a lot of people coming in low. And when a lot of people come in low, it's incredible. And so, anyways, just remember that you're going to, yes, the Billy films meant a lot to me, of course, but this film means way more to me. And if you really want to help me out, this is the film to do it. There's so much about this film and so much about this journey. It's true independent film. It's, it's getting in on the ground floor. And it's helping to make a dream come true. And like I said, if you're not interested, maybe your son or daughter, maybe your husband, maybe your brother is really into the paranormal. Share it. Don't sit there and go, no, I don't have to do it because others will. No, do it. If you know, do it. Come on, do it. Do it now. If you know somebody who's really into this kind of stuff, share it. It goes a long way. There's a reason why I set this at 20,000, not 60,000, because I knew that this was going to be a bit. Now, don't get me wrong. We've done amazing here at 14% in, 2 days. That's great. But it's a bit slow. It's going to be a bit slower because it's an original IP. Nobody really knows what, okay, I'm reading this. I don't know who's Dave. I don't know. But just know that I have, hopefully with all of you, I've built a reputation on trust, communication. We've delivered what we've promised. The Billy films are there as examples of that. The Chapter 2 Blu-rays, by the way, they're on their way. We're just in the middle of trying to work out some things with our vendor. We're back and forth with them now. Actually, I got an email from I was CC'd on an email today. So the Billy 2 Blu-rays are coming. Don't worry. But this is really important to me. It's really, really important to me. And if look, I got 30,000 subscribers, right? And if even just 1% of those subscribers or 2% of those subscribers, amazing, right? Amazing. So I'm just saying, folks, I'm just saying. Evil Alex says, do it. Come on. It's not a tumor. No, it's not. Let me see here. Josh Steven, what's going on, Josh? One of my big fans for the House on Port Robinson Road says, also, how did you do the music sound for the outstanding Thopper teaser? Did someone have to create the short music tracks and you had to hire them, or did you purchase it? Totally cool if it's a secret. No, I went to, there was a website that, it was Epidemic Sound or whatever it is. You have a subscription to it. They have all kinds of, there are Epidemic? No, not Epidemic. What is it? Hang on a sec here. It is Epidemic Sound. And you pay a monthly subscription and you're able to use the catalog and their library for your work. And there's certain licenses and things like that. And I heard that track. I'll quickly play it here. This track right. I just love that. Very ominous. And again, very much in the style of, folks, you have no idea how moody and atmospheric this movie is going to be. You know, and so it's true what Darren from The Slaughtered Lamb and Mr. Sandsman said last night, because he has read the script and gave some great feedback. He said, I don't think people realize, like, not to be overselling, saying you're not ready for it. No, it's not like that. But I don't think people, I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised, hopefully, and like, oh, this is so, oh, it's this, oh, you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, it's scary and atmospheric and moody and there's suspense and everything. But like I said, it's not a slasher movie. It's not, it's not The Conjuring. It's not Insidious. But it is, I do take two familiar horror elements, right? I take the haunted farmhouse and college age characters, but I marry them together in something a little more philosophical and existential. And it's cool. I think it's cool. And I've always wanted it to be that way. I didn't do that because elevated horror seems to be cool now. No, I've wanted to do that for 25 years. It's just now, that kind of horror is almost caught up, I guess. But anyway, have I got all the super chats? I think I have. Did I get all the super chats? I believe I did. Yes. I can't wrap my head around how the woman's not real. Yeah, no, it's a piece of concept art that was animated. So it's amazing what you can do. Or not me. What more knowledgeable people on certain visual effects software can do. I'll say that. Let me see. Time Theory 84 says, I just saw it looks pretty much the same unless I'm looking at the wrong thing. Oh, I'm not sure what you're looking at. Josh McKenna, very generous super chat. Thanks, Josh. Says, is it hard for an actor to make a transition from being on TV to film? I know George Clooney had a hard time when he was on ER. However, Jenna Ortega is in Wednesday and also movies. Sydney Sweeney is also in series of movies. It can be. I mean, it depends on the actor. It depends on the material. I don't think it's as different as it was, say, 50 years ago. I mean, 50, 60 years ago, TV was seen as lesser than movies. Oh, you're a television actor? Oh. Movies was the big leagues, right? Movies was the big leagues. Well, now it's pretty even. It depends, but it's not as, there's not the discrepancy as there was, say, back in the 60s or the 50s. And so I would say it depends. I would say it depends. I'm not really, it depends on the material and it depends on what you're known for. And the choices you make as an actor and the choices that your agent and manager and publicist and your, team who rep you make for you and the roles that you choose to do. That all plays a role. No pun intended. It all plays a part. Evil Alex says, what is your plan for the house? What's your plan for the house? My plan for the house. I would say my plan for the house is, well, I don't know. I mean, at the moment, it looks like we would just rebuild it. And that could cost $300,000 or $400,000. So, I know some people have said, well, why don't you just use a real abandoned house? And it's like, well, again, this is a professional production, unionized shoot, likely. I can't do that. Health and safety protocols, I can't shoot in a real abandoned house that's falling apart. So what is more likely is that if I am able to finance the full, not through crowdfunding, but I mean through, a production company, a studio, if we do get $2 or $3 million to make this film, then what is more likely is we will build the house. And then the house is built to look like it's dangerous and look like it's going to fall apart, but it's not. Everybody is safe. Everybody is secure. It's also built with, a bit larger. So you can get lights in there. You can get crew in there. You can get camera gear in there and dolly track and all that kind of stuff, which, I mean, you can't bring camera gear and, lighting and grip and have 30 crew members all standing in the same room in an abandoned house that the floor looks like it's going to cave in. You just can't do that. You can't do that. So it's more likely, actually absolutely likely, that either there's a house that's abandoned but still in great shape and we're able to use it, or we rebuild it. And then it becomes a set. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I'm not sure. Brandon Collins says, got myself a poster. Yes, my man, Brandon. Let's see it here. Let's see it. Let me go over to the other screen. Brandon, my man, one of our great moderators, going hard into the paint. Let me just see here. Brandon. Oh, 1 second. There we go. Brandon has picked up a poster. He said, maybe it didn't show up. Did you pick one up earlier? Or maybe it hasn't shown up yet. Or maybe you're the 36th person. Maybe it hasn't shown up yet. Maybe it will. Maybe it will. I'm not sure. Actually, maybe it has, and it's in that 36. So let me just see here. Or maybe you picked it up earlier the other day. I'm not sure. Let me just see. No, it's there. It's there. You picked up concept poster number 2, the Dead Speak. Yeah, that one's selling like hotcakes. I think people like the house and the Dead Speak, which is cool. I get it. I totally get it. The other one, I like the other one because it's a little more cerebral with the face and the ghostly face and all that kind of stuff. But they're both great. Okay, you did. Maybe you were the 36th one, or maybe it just hasn't shown yet. I don't know. We'll find out here. We'll find out. We'll keep an eye on it. Or maybe actually, yeah, maybe you were the 36th one. Maybe you were. I might be 36. Okay, yeah. All right, fair enough. Well, folks, like I said, I would love it if we could get if we could get that to 3,000 tonight. That makes 15%. Now remember, it's less for you in the US. Every price you see, including all the perks, all down here and all that kind of stuff, it's less. So that $30 is Canadian. That might be like $25 for you or something like that. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's shipping, of course, because on the physical perks, I have to charge shipping in order to ship, obviously. But it's still great. And so I don't know. Is there anybody? Awoken Nightmare says, Dave, forgive me if you've already answered this, but have you been in contact with the other individuals who were part of this experience and let them know about the project? Yes. Well, yes, of course. That's what this is right here, my man. Let me just scroll down here. And hopefully I don't lose people in the chat. I know people are sort of filing out every time I talk about this because they don't care. No, I'm just busting. Just busting. That's it. Into the Experience live with Dave McCrae and his college friends. I mean, not every single person, obviously, but I have reached out to people, and this is the highest tier. Again, that $9.50, folks, that's Canadian dollars, so that's probably going to be a couple $100 less for you. That's the top tier. And in this top tier, you get all other perks included. All other perks, not just the November Files perks, all other perks, the 2 signed concept posters, the 2 non-signed concept posters, the Port Robinson Road street sign, the 2 t-shirts. You get them all. In addition to a private link to a stream with me and my college friends talking about the real experience behind the house on Port Robinson Road with a Q&A, and you also get your name etched on a founder wall. On on my official website, davemccraeofficial.com. And that's like the equivalent of the executive producer tier on well, not the exact equivalent because obviously it's not a producer perk, but I just mean that's our highest tier. And this is about $8,000 less than that tier. And we sold 3 of those tiers. Now, I do understand that, of course, it's producer, it's more sexy, I get that. But I'm really hoping that somebody out there will want to pick up this tier, or I'll be talking to my friends alone. But that's okay too, because it'll be nice to chat with them. But yeah, that's it right there, buddy. That's it right there. Is that an actual pick from that time? It is. Oh yes, all of it is. That's an actual pick. I thought I could use it and use it freely because you can't see anybody's faces. So that is a real pick from the year 2000. Yeah, I forget this girl's name, but I remember everybody else. No, I forget this guy's name too. The guy right here, I forget his name. Hey, that's what 25 years does to you. And so yeah, so that's a pick of some of, I mean, there were others as well. But that's a pick of some of the group that went out there. That's a real pick. And like I said, this pick right here, because some people thought I was using a stock photo. That's the real house, folks. So whenever you see this, I mean, I've manipulated it in Photoshop. Not that one, but you'll often see one that's like black and white, or one that looks a little more stylized, like the bluish darker one I've been using. But that's the real house. That is the real house, and that is the first picture I ever took of it in November 2000. And so, yeah, And then why not read the synopsis again for all of you? This is the official synopsis. In a small, peaceful town in November 2000, a group of local college friends explore an abandoned 19th century farmhouse after hearing rumors of paranormal activity. During their first visit on a gloomy, windy autumn day, the house appears to be nothing more than a dilapidated structure cloaked in unsettling silence. There it is. A dilapidated structure cloaked in unsettling silence. Ooh. But when they return under the cover of night during a violent thunderstorm, a terrifying event unfolds, one that leaves them shaken, bewildered, and desperate for answers. On their next visit, the mystery deepens and the disturbing events escalate. With each revelation, the enigma grows, sparking philosophical debates among the friends. What begins as a search for answers soon becomes a transformative quest, one that pulls them beyond the boundaries of reality and into another dimension of consciousness. Now, they must uncover what really happened inside the house on Port Robinson Road before the truth is lost forever. So even that synopsis should paint a picture of it's a little more than just a bunch of kids running around and picking up a don't EVP. And that's the real house. And of course, this is the first concept poster. I absolutely love it. It exemplifies more elevated, more mature, maybe even a little more. It's a little more A24 than Blumhouse, right? And that's by design. That's by design because I want it to feel that way. I want you to feel a feeling when you look at it. The real house, of course, and then the stretch goals. And then, of course, there's me and Victoria Miro on the set of It's Me, Billy, Chapter 2. That's not a staged photo, by the way. That's a candid photo that was captured in the moment. I know it might look, oh, you guys are just pretending. No, that's real. We had an on-set BTS photographer who was dedicated to taking all these kinds of shots. So I love this picture, really in the moment. If you've seen Billy 2, then you know this scene. I was going over sort of the emotional beats with her during that scene. That's all about me. And then, of course, Proven Trust, the Billy trailers, just to showcase what, of course, what we're capable of on this side. And then the concept poster number 2 right there, which is really cool. That's a great concept poster as well. Really, really cool. They say it's the place where the dead speak. And that's the house. So no matter if you see the house looking like that, or whether you see the house looking like the thumbnail in the video, which would be back there like that, or whether you see it in its true form like that, that's the real house. It's not a stock photo at all. And that's just the tip of the iceberg with photos. I'm just telling you, folks, that is the tip of the iceberg when it comes to photos. And, hang on a sec here. Let me scroll back down. Hang on a sec. Wait a minute. Something happened here. Hang on a sec. Hang on a sec here. Let me do that, move this over like that, and then do, why is it doing that? That's weird. You could see more before. I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe I'll just do that. I'm not sure what happened. Something happened. Anyway, that's a real still frame from one of the videos. That's a real still frame from one of the videos. That's my actual tape recorder, believe it or not. And that is also another picture right there from the real experience. Now, remember, the movie is inspired by, there is a lot of truth in the movie. Okay, there absolutely is. But of course, the movie is inspired by, it is adapted from the real story. So all of these November files are like the real story behind the story, that kind of juicy stuff. That's really great. So there's a lot more where all that stuff came from. But yes, that is, I have reached out to them, and they are, a few people have already said they're on board with coming on a private stream, which is pretty darn cool. It's pretty darn cool. So, folks, I'll get off here in a second. We'll go another 15 minutes. We'll go another 15 minutes and see if we can reach that 15%. 15 minutes, 15%. Is it going to happen, folks? I don't know. Whoops. We've totally lost now the whole King Caboodle. I don't know what's going on here. We're still sitting at 14%. Is it going to happen? I don't know. Brandon says, he's talking to Josh. That's great. Evil Alex says, if you have all the footage and still contact with them, a doc about the actual story would be fun. Maybe after the film. Yeah, a lot of work. And, but yes, that might be kind of fun too. Evil says, the house gives me the chills. I imagine walking in, and shooting the pic was eerie. It was. There was also a sadness to the house as well. There was a sadness there. It wasn't just scary, there was a sadness, for sure. But yeah, I mean, there's so many photos I have and like I said, if you really like that kind of stuff, if you like watching ghost hunting shows, ghost adventure shows, all that kind of stuff, then you're going to want to get in on the November Files. You don't have to go to the top tier, but the first November Files is like 130 Canadian. It's about $100 US, like really manageable. Even the November Files Plus is about 230 Canadian, I think, maybe 150 US, like still very manageable. And that gets you photos and audio, right? And so there's different tiers, right? You know what I mean? And hopefully they'll pick up some steam. So because I think it'd be really, really cool. Have I got all the super chats? I just want to make sure I've got all the super chats. I believe I have. I just want to make sure that I have. Let me scroll back and see if anybody's saying anything. Josh Stevens says, yeah, and sometimes you can tell better stories via TV. Oh, right. Yeah, yes. The TV acting. Yes, I agree with that. Let me scroll back. Anybody? Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. You're talking about David Bowie now. Okay. Prince. All right. I guess, no, that's it. Okay. All right. Well, folks, look, spread the word. Let everybody know about it. You can. I am going to be talking about it a lot, obviously. I'm not trying to be annoying. It's just that I got to work hard. And I want to be able to raise these funds because these funds are going to make this movie closer to being a reality. If I don't raise these funds, it's not that the movie won't still happen, but it may be a longer road to that. And so these development funds are really important. And like I said, you guys are getting in on the ground up. You're getting in on the ground up, which is really, really cool. So, yeah. Brandon says, Dave, did you hear about the paranormal investigator who died while escorting Annabelle across? I did hear about that. I didn't read the story, but I did hear about it. And so I'd have to read the story to figure out what they're saying and, whether they did an autopsy. And I'm sure Annabelle Conjuring fans will try to frame it as it was the doll. No, it was probably something very physiological, but who knows? I mean, you never know. But I did hear about that. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. A very interesting thing that that happened. Wait, I do have all the super chats, right? I just want to make sure. I do have them all. Yes. Okay. All right. Okay, good. All right. Well, the chat room seems to be slowing down a little bit. So I'll tell you what, that's going to do it for me here on this episode of MCRAE Live. Thank you for tuning in, folks. I really, really, really appreciate it. Remember to donate to the campaign when you can. Tell people about it. I'm going to be promoting it. Let's see if we can get to 20% maybe by the end of the weekend, maybe. That's just another $1,000, probably another $700 US. All it would take is a November Files perk to be picked, and we'd be right there. A top tier, of course. But that would be awesome. And but I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for believing in the project. Thank you so much for your donations and your belief in me and your belief in this. Because one day, folks, when this movie gets made and when it gets released, no matter where it is, you're going to look at that and you're going to go, I remember all those shows and those streams and development funds and all that kind of stuff. And It's a really cool journey. You're getting in on the ground floor. Which is really, really cool. Folks, if you're watching after the fact, jump into the comment section and let me know your thoughts on anything I had to say here today. But of course, about the main topic, the Snyderverse, Snyder fans, DC, James Gunn, Superman. Let me know your thoughts. I'd like to know. Jump into the comment section. Let me know. Thank you, of course, to all the super chats that came in today. I really, 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 really appreciate it. The link is at the top of the chat, folks, as well, in case you didn't know. Thank you, Brandon. I will talk to you all very, very, very soon. My name's Dave McCrae. Stay safe out there, ladies and germs. And I'll talk to you soon. All righty. Cheers.